Happening now, we have an update on this month's fatal fire in Jamestown that claimed the life of a young man and injured a toddler and firefighter. And a local youth advocate is cleaning up following a shooting in downtown Jamestown this week. He's outlining his disappointment with the violence. Plus, a new way of meditation which involves jumping into a frigid Lake Erie.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now. This is a First Defense weather alert.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould, and we start with First Defense weather as we're watching the skies today and holding on to our hat and then some, Dakota, out there with gusty conditions at times.
Yes, we will be, and this was actually, this wind advisory that we have in place for Chautauqua County was actually issued yesterday afternoon, and it is in place until 7 o'clock tonight, and the strongest wind gusts are going to be near the Lake Erie shoreline, but understand it's going to be windy across much of the region today. So here are the forecast wind gusts for you. So we're going to be talking about wind gusts likely around 30 to 40 miles an hour. The wind gusts will start to subside a little bit as we go into the overnight hours, but it still will be breezy through tonight. We're talking wind gusts still around 35 to 40 miles an hour through the overnight hours. So if tomorrow is your trash day and you're taking your trash can out, yeah, it's probably going to be either next door or looking for it down the street somewhere is probably where your trash can will likely end up. So this is the first thing we're going to have to deal with. Then comes something else as we go in through the day, and this is part of the issue with these warmer temperatures, 45 to 53 today. So strong wind gusts, partly sunny, quite warm. Snow melt is going to continue through the day, but it gets worse tomorrow as we add rain to it, and there is a flooding potential. We'll talk about that along with that Ultimate Satellite Solution 7-day forecast later on in the show, so stay with us. Justin, back to you.
Absolutely, Dakota. Thank you. Fire investigators tasked with determining what started a fatal Jamestown blaze earlier this month say we may never know what sparked the flames. Our Bronson Rasmussen has the latest in their investigation and an update on the injured firefighter.
On Friday, February 4th, those with the Jamestown Fire Department responded to 109 Kidder Street and found a two-story apartment house completely engulfed in flames. Nearly 2 weeks later, Fire Chief Matthew Kuhn says the department has finished their investigation, which at this point leaves more questions than answers.
The cause has been ruled as undetermined due to the amount of damage that was found inside the home. We do believe that the area of origin of the fire was in the living room of the first floor apartment.
At the time of the blaze, a 3-year-old and 19-year-old were trapped inside the first floor apartment. While trying to rescue the two, a firefighter suffered burns.
Our firefighters for that specific incident encountered intense heat and smoke. They were crawling on their hands and knees. It was the only way they were going to be able to actually see what they were doing and to stay low enough where the heat could be tolerated.
The 3-year-old underwent treatment at Oshai Children's Hospital in Buffalo, with 19-year-old Jacob Rischel succumbing to his injuries. As for the firefighter, Kuhn says he is doing well, all things considered, and has since returned to work.
The firefighter that was injured, he did receive first and second degree burns. His turnout gear was damaged as a result of the intense heat and due to the conditions that were inside when they first encountered.
Bronson Rasmussen, WNY News Now.
Bronson, thank you. Chief Kuhn says this is a good time to check your smoke alarms at home in order to prevent another tragedy like this. And the family of a Northeast Pennsylvania man who was shot and killed by a state trooper in Buffalo on Saturday has released a statement about his death. New York State Police say 38-year-old James Hubner was driving erratically on Interstate 90 Saturday morning. Authorities spotted him and tried to pull him over. He then exited the highway into Buffalo. Troopers saw his car near Washington Street and walked up to it and tried to talk with him, but that's when they said he tried to pull away. A trooper then fired at Hubner, who died at the scene. His lifelong friend and mother of his daughter, Carrie Arnold, released the following statement to our news partner Erie News Now, saying in part, "My daughter and I are doing the best we can and still trying to process this. He was a good man and didn't deserve this, and now his kids have to go without a father and his mother has to bury her son." A GoFundMe has been launched to help with funeral expenses. And cleanup continues following a weekend shooting at a downtown Jamestown venue, with the operator of that space, a longtime youth advocate, disappointed in the violence. Our Julia Grass with what he has to say.
Officers were called to 201 Cherry Street around 1:30 a.m. Sunday after multiple shots rang out inside of a crowded Valentine's Day party. The former bar is now leased by Ronald James Jr., son of late Councilwoman Victoria James, who rented the venue in hopes of raising money for his youth program.
I was using this as an event space to where people could rent it out and put on their own venues. While I was doing that, so we can help, raise money for the program and go towards the after-school program and everything else that we want to do.
Since the shooting, James has pivoted the fundraising plan. Instead of allowing others to rent out the space for private events, he will now host fundraisers for his group in the space. According to James, he rented out the space for a private Valentine's Day party, unaware of the extent of people who would be there.
I'm not mad. I'm just more like hurt and upset because this is not what I stand for, and my mom doesn't stand for any of this. Like, that's not what we're about, and we're about uplifting the community.
The after-school program called Kicking It with Kids was created to encourage children to pursue their entrepreneurial goals and to provide them with the skills to do so. James says this incident is hard to swallow, given that he is trying to provide children with positive role models and mindsets. He now continues to clean up blood off the floors.
People wanted to come down and help, they could help, or any type of donations, or come ask me for information on like my programs and see what they can do, because I'm always looking for like coaches, because I have a basketball program, looking for like mentors, and also I need more people for my after-school program too. So the more people that want to help is the merrier.
Anyone who wishes to contribute to this legacy can give back to their community in a variety of ways, including through James's program by contacting him at 716-397-7418 or through Facebook and Instagram. James hopes the space will become an area to find common ground with others who may not normally interact with each other. Julia Gress, WNY News Now.
Julia, thank you. The victim's injuries are not believed to be life-threatening. However, police say he's not cooperating with their investigation as they're actively working to identify a shooter. And a man is facing charges after allegedly fleeing officers with a loaded handgun in Dunkirk. City of Dunkirk police tell us they stopped a vehicle in the area of Leopard and East 5th Streets around 2 in the morning last Thursday. While speaking with the driver of the vehicle, identified as 40-year-old Angelico Elaro, the passenger allegedly fled on foot. Officers later caught up with this man, 40-year-old Wilfredo Rodriguez Perezzo. During a search of the vehicle, they say they located some crack cocaine and a loaded 9mm handgun. Wilfredo Rodriguez is charged with several weapons crimes for that loaded weapon and a large capacity magazine. Meanwhile, the driver faces drug and additional traffic charges. As WNY News Now continues, the latest push to pull back on masking rules here in the Empire State. We hear from our local senator next. And later, a look at the barriers still in place for those trying to return to work after they might have been laid off during the COVID-19 pandemic. Stay with us. WNY News Now will be right back.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
Welcome to Honest John's Pizzeria, where you are the most important customer.
Everything from freshly made subs to the best of pizza and wings, Honest John's has it all.
And don't forget the ice cream!
Order online today or check out our 2 great locations with buffets ready for every appetite.
Don't I have the best job in the world?
You're gonna get it good at Honest John's.
Now is the time to make your real estate move. Call us to list your home in Cattaraugus County. Choose the #1 real estate team in Ellicottville. Call Team Pritchard, 716-575-SELL. The market is hot. Call 716-575-SELL today.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
Home fires occur most often in winter. Keep anything that can catch fire at least 3 feet from heating equipment. And never use an oven to heat your home. Stay in the kitchen when frying, grilling, or broiling food. Turn space heaters off when you leave the room or go to bed. Make sure all vents are clear of snow and ice to allow carbon monoxide to vent outside. Have your furnace, heating system, and chimneys serviced each year by a qualified professional. Learn more at www.usfa.fema.gov.
Brought to you by the Chautauqua Safety Village and the Jamestown Fire Department.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
New York's COVID-19 spread is at pre-surge levels. That's according to Governor Kathy Hochul, who reported the lowest case rate since October yesterday. Hochul spoke during a news conference in Albany when she outlined a 97% drop in cases since the peak of the winter surge back on January 7th. In addition, the state recorded a 72% decline in COVID-related hospitalizations this past month. Now, the state, according to Hochul, now has one of the lowest case rates of any major state in the U.S.
I mean, that is an amazing drop. I don't think we could have foreseen that. We prayed for it. We hoped it would happen, and it actually did happen. So to everybody who followed our guidelines, the businesses who complied with what we asked them to do, the people who got vaccinated and got boosted, and the people who wore their mask when the numbers were that dangerously high.
92 million COVID test kits are expected to be distributed to New Yorkers next week, including 5 million for students to use before returning to school for the upcoming February break. As for ending the mask mandate in schools, Hochul says she plans to look at a number of factors, including vaccination rates among school-aged children, infection rates, pediatric hospitalizations, and global trends. And Republican representatives in New York State Senate once again petitioned to end the mask mandate in schools across the state. The caucus pushed for a vote to repeal masking requirements following Governor Kathy Hochul's decision to lift the vax or mask business mandate last week. Among the senators who are renewing the call was Senator George Burr, who has been outspoken for more checks and balances in state government.
I've said before that a crisis like this has always been used as an opportunity to take away our freedoms and liberties, to strip us of our ability to really govern ourselves. That's what this is all about. But this has been particularly egregious because we are using our children as pawns in their effort to keep control, to keep people afraid.
Last week, Burr and other Senate Republicans penned a letter to the governor blasting the decision to keep kids masked and calling for metrics for an off-ramp. The unemployment rate has steadily fallen since the start of the pandemic, but congressional members worry there are still barriers that prevent people from getting jobs. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp reports.
Our nation has made great progress rebuilding our economy from the COVID-19 crisis.
Looking at the data from the Department of Labor, unemployment rates climbed to almost 15% in the U.S. when the coronavirus first hit back in early 2020. Now that number has trickled down to around 4%. But in a Senate committee meeting, they focus on overcoming barriers that still prevent people from getting back to work.
Services like childcare, transportation, access to career navigation, resume writing, and case management are often the difference between a worker succeeding in a training program and being able to keep a job.
Senator Richard Burr says industry-recognized apprenticeships could help reach a new population of workers. And although he encourages people to get vaccinated, he says the vaccine mandates also added to the unemployment problem.
With all the changes to our economy, now more than ever, it's time for us to think about innovative solutions. Everyone here is interested in finding ways to reduce barriers to employment.
Senator Bob Casey says criminal records are also a barrier.
We know that more than 1 in 3 adults have some form of criminal record, which keeps them from participating in many facets of everyday life as background checks become more commonplace.
Witnesses say many companies and businesses will automatically screen resumes, and if a record comes up, that candidate is automatically disqualified.
I think folks often forget that the skills and abilities of individuals are what we need to be paying attention to and not necessarily what has happened in their past.
Senator Casey says he's sponsoring legislation that would automatically seal low-level, non-violent federal offenses after they've completed their sentencing. At the Capitol, Rachel Knapp reporting.
Rachel, thank you. In Pennsylvania, Governor Tom Wolf this week has emphasized the importance of closing the digital divide in that state, especially in rural areas. He says the Broadband Development Authority will help the Commonwealth do just that. Just about 2 months after signing House Bill 2071 into law, Governor Wolf says the Broadband Development Authority is ready to get to work. The authority is an 11-member board consisting of cabinet officials, lawmakers, and the executive director of the Center for Rural Pennsylvania, and a chairperson from the Pennsylvania Utility Commission. The authority met for the first time to outline their plan for roughly $100 million in federal aid to coordinate the rollout of broadband across PA. Governor Wolf says it will be the single entity in the Commonwealth tasked with ensuring every resident has equal and affordable access to broadband no matter where they live. He says having that strategic rollout plan is something that will benefit all. Now, lawmakers say this is just the beginning of the process and didn't provide a concrete year or date when rural areas will see better broadband. The authority has to submit a statewide plan to the federal government before the Commonwealth can receive the funding to begin various projects. Coming up, we're checking out a new way of meditation, which, get this, involves jumping into the icy waters of Lake Erie. Ooh. But first, when we return, a full look at our weather forecast. Stay with us. WNY News Now will be right back.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
This winter, let New York State take your breath away. Come be a part of it. Plan your winter getaway at iloveny.com.
There's an old saying, there's no news in the newsroom. Well, it's true. The time I spend at the anchor desk is just part of my day. Most of our time is spent gathering stories in the community, stories that matter to you. We can't do it alone, and we need your help. When you see breaking news or have a news tip we should know about, drop us a line on Facebook today, email our news desk, or call our newsroom at 488-7226 so we can bring those stories straight back to you.
I'm a survivor.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Fast, accurate, and everyday. First Defense Weather.
Welcome back, everybody. Got lots of stuff to talk about here. First of all, wanted to start off very quickly with a weather eye picture that came in yesterday of the sunset, and it was a gorgeous sunset out there. Thanks to Patty for sending that in. Any pictures or videos of the weather? Hunters WX on Twitter, the First Defense Weather page on Facebook, and use that hashtag MyLocalWX. We actually have some high clouds moving in downtown right now. 45 as a noon hour, very warm day, but it's breezy. Southwest wind of 17 with a wind gust of 26. Now, after we get through today, the issue turns to flooding. We do still have this flood watch in effect for all of Western New York. It now includes Warren and Erie counties in Pennsylvania, like I told you yesterday it was likely going to, and this goes all the way through Friday night. And the issue is going to be because we have this. This is the current snow depth across the region, and this kind of pink to purplish color is about 10 to 11 inches worth of snow. That's what's on the ground. So this already about a foot of snow that's on the ground with the current snow depth. This has about an inch worth of water in it. Then we're going to add rain on top of that tomorrow. This is the NOAA flooding outlook for tomorrow. We are under a slight risk or a level 2 out of 4 for flooding tomorrow. So this is going to be heavy rainfall through the day tomorrow, combined with the snow and ice melt, could push some of the local streams and creeks over their banks. So if you live near rivers or creeks, or if you live in a flood-prone area, be sure to pay attention to flood warnings if and when they're issued. It's kind of quiet now, but that's all going to change by the time we go into tomorrow. You'll notice Future Scan painting the clouds through the day. These are mostly high clouds, but nothing will fall out of them. By the time we go into the overnight hours, we are going to see some rain showers coming in. Then the rain showers turn more widespread and actually start to pick up in intensity. Notice the yellows and the oranges. That starts to indicate the heavier amounts of rainfall. That is going to continue through the day on Thursday. Now, the next thing we have to keep an eye on is this. A strong cold front's going to move through. This pink area is going to be freezing rain and sleet. This is the snow. We are going to see a changeover to snow showers Thursday night and into Friday. They still need some fine tuning, so we will have to keep our eyes on that with the new model run. So this is what we're looking at in terms of rainfall. This model, I think, is going a little too high with the rainfall totals, but you get the idea here that even an inch worth of rainfall on top of an inch worth of water that's likely going to melt from the snowpack, that's likely going to, again, cause some flooding issues. So again, if you live in flood-prone areas or you live near streams and creeks, just be careful of that, because obviously, as the snow melts, that's obviously going to create some more liquid here. So again, widespread rain through the day on Thursday. Then we see that transition over to snow showers. Accumulation of snow showers does look like at least a couple inches at this point, but not a big deal. We stay chilly through at least the first half of the weekend, then temperatures go back up into the 40s, Justin, by the time we go into early next week. Lots on the plate to digest.
Yeah, no kidding about that. And of course, we'll continue to monitor those areas. And that's the big thing. At least folks with a storm like this, they have kind of that forewarning aspect of, hey, if your area floods or has flooded in the past, you're definitely going to have to watch out for that. I know there's some streets here in Jamestown that I'd imagine are going to flood, out towards, heading out towards Celeron there by the boat landing on Jones and Gifford, underneath the overpass on Buffalo Street, and I'd imagine right in front of that running store. Those are some of the big places we'll be watching tomorrow. So Dakota, thank you for that. Looking at some news across the nation now, and 9 families of the victims of the Sandy Hook Elementary School mass shooting reached a $73 million settlement in their wrongful death lawsuit against Remington and its insurers. The firearms company made the Bushmaster AR-15 style rifle, which was used in the 2012 shooting that killed 20 kids and 6 adults in Newtown, Connecticut. In 2005, federal law protects many gun makers from wrongful death lawsuits brought by family members. But attorneys for the Sandy Hook families pushed a different approach by trying to hold the company partly responsible because of its marketing strategy. In 2011, the U.S. Supreme Court decided not to take up any appeal by Remington, effectively allowing the suit to move forward. The next year, Remington filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection for the second time in just over 2 years. Well, investigators got a breakthrough in a missing child case that's been open for nearly 2 years Monday when they found a girl hidden inside of a staircase. The child was reported missing in 2019 when she was just 4. Police executing a search warrant found her Monday in a secret room that was hidden beneath a staircase in her grandparents' New York home. They had to remove planks to get access. The dark and wet enclosure in the space that led to the basement's home. Police say the child's biological mother was also found there. The New York home is about 150 miles away from where she was last seen. Police had searched it before, but was never given full access. The child's biological mother, father, and grandfather are now facing charges. She has been reunited with her legal guardian and reunited with her older sister as well. Well, cases, hospitalizations, and deaths, they're all down. So why hasn't the CDC eased up on their federal masking guidance yet? Health experts say it's all about perspective. Look at the 7-day moving average of reported deaths. More people, they say, are dying now than at any point in the pandemic, except last winter. The CDC just released this statement saying, as always, the CDC is regularly reviewing our guidance to ensure we are providing science-based recommendations that are most relevant for each moment of the pandemic. We will communicate any updates on our mask recommendations publicly if and/or when they change, which means you can expect a lot of questions during the COVID-19 briefing today. We'll likely have an update on this tomorrow. Next, would you dive into the icy waters of Lake Erie? Probably not, but we introduce you to a man who does, and he tells us it's all in the name of meditation.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
How prepared is your family if a hurricane shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a blizzard? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza. Yes.
Make a plan today.
Remember when you were a kid, huddled around the television waiting for your school to close? Well, we don't get snow days. When winter weather hits, count on the First Defense Weather Team for a look into the future where the snow is headed next. Live radar showing you the scope of the storm. And real-time reports from the field. So when it matters most, stay with First Defense Weather.
Catch your First Defense forecast daily on WNY News Now. You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Well, many of us like to stay warm indoors. Some people think it's the best time to be out in the freezing temperatures. Better yet, without hardly any clothing on. Erie News Now's Keelan Berrien with more on that new meditation method and the more people who are getting into it.
People are calling it the most powerful immune system booster.
You're producing chemicals in your brain and stuff that they've showed that have a significant effect on the immune system.
Ian Cochran just took an icy bath after practicing what's called the Wim Hof Method. He's been using the method for 3 years to meditate, which helped him fight depression.
Going through a lot of family issues, going through a divorce, that's very stressful.
In Lake Erie is where he meditates. He walks in just shorts and holds his stick to keep him stable. Using a baseball bat, he breaks the ice, and once an area is clear, he slips into the water, meditating for 3 minutes or more.
So I decided to take a dive in myself, which isn't the only method that you can use because a cold shower can work too. But Kogan said as long as you control your breathing, you can get through this method.
The first actual experience of going in the cold water, I got in the water and I screamed. I just let it all out. It was a battle cry or something.
Similar to his battle cry, I did the same.
Oh my God!
This can be dangerous if you're not careful. Hypothermia is real, as well as frostbite and viruses. Kyle Cummings with Presque Isle Coast Guard says he can't keep people away from the lake, but accidents can happen.
Best thing you can do if you do fall into the water is spread out your body weight and try and get out of the water, because being inside the water robs your body heat 25 times faster than being out, in the open air.
Keelan Berrien, Erie News Now.
Oh, Keelan, you're a brave soul for that. Thank you for sharing. And you know what's funny? I actually watched a Netflix show about this before. It was included part of a series of Better Life that I was trying to, seek advice from during the pandemic. But I don't know. Would you jump in the water, Dakota? I don't think I would.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
In the words of Al Borland, I don't think so, Tim.
No. I don't know. I don't think so either. I let us know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. But realistically, I feel like I'd probably go into some sort of shock. But they say the cold helps.
Well, I mean, I have heard of athletes, they will take, they will literally fill like a bathtub full of ice.
Yeah.
And they'll sit in ice because it helps their muscles after they work out. But, I don't know.
I don't know.
No.
I don't know about that. I suppose I could take a cold shower. Like I do that every now and then, especially in the morning to get the juices flowing. But that lake is cold. That lake is cold.
No cold showers for me. I don't even like it when I run out of hot water when I'm taking a shower. No.
That's it for us today. We'll leave you with this live look over Lakewood in the Wally World down there. News 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com.